All right, Dad. Every single headline in the automotive world is about electric vehicles nowadays. It is. We've done some shows on it. I mean, it's pretty much shaping up to be like the golden era of EVs. Tesla sales are almost topping BMW and Mercedes Benz. Ford's coming out with the F-150 Lightning. Rivian is a quadrillion-dollar company. Like EVs are everywhere. But no one is talking about, well, a lot of people are talking about and they're getting frustrated. No one's shining a light on the infrastructure that's needed to actually support electric vehicles. And I found two articles that I thought were really interesting. One was in the LA Times, and it was talking about I guess is the right term poor? I mean, it's a poor community.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very working class community in California that has adopted electric vehicles and electric vehicle infrastructure. And it's kind of this like test case for what's required in the United States. And then another article that talks about, everyone's pushing for electric, but there are all sorts of challenges that our electric grid are going to face. So I wanted to take some time today, Dad, and talk about it. Like, how the hell do we actually get to an EV fleet nationwide? Because that seems pretty clear that $500 billion are being invested to go EV.
I keep hitting on it, and I have been hitting on it for months and months and months. EV is a wonderful idea. It's a great concept. I am so glad all these manufacturers are so pumped up and so excited and looking at innovative ways to get longer mileage out of these electric vehicles and everything. But if there's no infrastructure to charge these damn vehicles, it doesn't matter. And that's what the real issue is. That's the thing that is going to hold back the electric vehicle revolution to a certain degree in this country. In many countries in Europe, they have invested money already into increased infrastructure to be able to handle the influx of electric vehicles. And I hate to say it, but we are behind the times and, to a certain degree, behind the eight ball in this country. You can't just tweak the power plants and get them to be able to produce the requisite amount of additional electricity that's going to be needed. With electric vehicles, if they take off the way that the manufacturers are expecting it to, it's going to increase electric demand somewhere between 30 and 50% more than what it is today. We have troubles meeting the demand today. It seems like every summer there's rolling blackouts in California. And California is probably better positioned than most states when it comes to electric vehicle adoption. Without the requisite infrastructure, I just don't see it really being in a position to take off to the degree that everybody seems to think that it can or will.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think it's worth mentioning a few things here. One is, I don't know if you saw this, Dad, but Shell, the gas station company, the
oil.
I guess
company.
maybe, yeah,
They're an oil company.
They're an oil company, right?
Yeah.
They converted over in the UK one of their gas stations into an EV charging hub. So that's like a great example of like Europe being a little bit further ahead than we are here in the United States. And to hit on a few things here, just to provide some context, we have Chrysler going full EV by 2026, but that one, yeah, it's Chrysler, it's okay. We've got Jaguar going full EV by 2030, Bentley by 2030, Cadillac by 2030, Lotus by 2030, Mini by 2030, Volvo by 2030, Toyota, Honda, and GM have all talked about, what was it, like 50% of their cars being sold by 2030. They want them to be EVs. So these are big claims. And we have the article back on the website. Justin did an incredible job researching. It is over $500 billion that automakers have invested or have on their books
scheduled to invest.
Have scheduled to invest.
Yes.
Now, here are the things that give me a little bit of pause. What do you actually need to be able to, I don't know, make batteries, charge batteries? And this comes directly from the article that I had pulled up. It says China controls the processing of nearly 60% of the world's lithium, 35% of nickel, 65% of cobalt, and more than 85% of rare earth elements, all necessary elements to produce a range of EV batteries. That comes from the Director for Critical Minerals Strategy and Securing America's Future Energy. There's a lot of materials that are needed to be able to actually supply this revolution, which is not to say, to be clear, we're not here making a case for whether gas is better than batteries or ice versus... No, not. We're just trying to give you the information. There's going to be new partnerships that need to be forged to actually facilitate the scale here that we're talking about. So that's one of the considerations. Now, another one of the considerations is, like you said, Dad, is the actual power grid. Do we have the infrastructure in place here to be able to actually, like, I don't know, sustain this nationwide? And from some of the people I've talked to in the industry, the people who are most excited about this are the state and local municipalities that operate and own the power supplies. Because they're like,
Great, we're just going to make more money. We're going to
Yes.
figure out ways to.
I talked to someone, Dad, who said that the power supply, it was in Florida. They're going to start sending direct mail letters to people promoting buying electric vehicles and like telling them the best hours to charge and things like that to save money. Like the marketing push is going to be coming not only from like tax incentives from the government, but the power suppliers. Does that mean they'll then invest to improve the infrastructure? You got to hope so. Because if it doesn't work, then people are going to get upset.
Somebody better. And here's the scary part. If we leave it to either local, state, or federal governments to oversee all this happening, it may never happen. Okay? The one thing politicians do better than anything is just talk. They don't do, they talk. They talk about doing, you know.
Well, I'd love to accomplish this. I don't know how we're going to accomplish it because, well, all I'm going to do is talk about maybe possibly accomplishing it.
And you do have private companies out there, right? Tesla built the supercharger network. That's been part of their competitive advantage to their peers and will continue to be a part of their competitive
Yes.
advantage. The Electrify America network is like spotty at best. Marquise Brownlee, MKBHD, did an incredible YouTube video. I've talked about it before with you, Dad. They did a road trip, 1,000-mile road trip, where they all had to charge at different places. Electrify America is like very unreliable, but that's like the one that Ford's relying on, GM's relying on. So there has to be an investment there. And I think a hell of a lot of education needs to happen, Dad. Do you know the difference between level 1, 2, and 3 charging?
No.
Yeah, like there's a lot of education that has to happen. It's the amount of wattage that goes through and the speed at which. And did you know that doing too much level 3 charging, the quick one, can actually be detrimental to the battery? Like, I didn't know these things. I'm starting to read the stuff Justin, who's the EV expert on our team, is writing and researching and providing. Like, a lot of education needs to happen so that people aren't, making mistakes as they're now. Hell, in New Jersey, you can't even pump your own gas. So, like, there's a learning curve here for the EV stuff.
Yes. I wonder if you'll be allowed to plug your own car in New Jersey.
That's a good question, Pops.
Yeah.
You asked the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, well, we ask all the hard-hitting questions here. Why is it that in New Jersey you can't pump your own gas? Why? What are they afraid of? What's going on in the 49 other states that would say to New Jersey, "Oh, this is way too big of a risk to let people pump their own gas"?
Sounds like we got another video we're going to film
We
after
do,
this.
yes. We need to do some investigative reporting on why New Jerseyans are incapable of pumping their own gas.
I've got some theories, but I'll leave those alone. Check out the articles down below. Also, we have the new EV newsletter that we started up recently back at joinyaa.com, so take a peek there as well. Sign up for that. Fascinating stuff, man. But EVs, they're coming. They're absolutely coming. We can't deny that. It's the infrastructure, I think, is something that we're going to definitely focus on moving forward here.
The EVs are coming. Where's Paul Revere when we need him?